Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Rewind, the podcast that rewatches, reviews, and reacts to every movie, show, and one-shot in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And also Disney Plus show, because that's what we're covering. Well, actually, we're not reviewing, responding, reacting, because this is new, so we're just viewing, spawning, and acting. Anyway, I'm Tony Camarena.
And I'm Al Rodriguez.
And you can follow us at Twitter on at MCU_rewind and give us that 5-star app on 5-star. God, I messed myself up.
I'm not editing that out.
Yes, you are. You can follow us on Twitter at MCU_rewind and give us a rating on whatever podcast app you use, which is the best thing you can do for any podcast. And with that, today's episode is going to be a reaction to WandaVision and a preview of Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming up on Disney Plus.
That's right. It's a doubleheader, and not exactly a preview, more of a prediction episode, like this part. So we're combining them into two episodes, into one episode, as you may have noticed by the title, if you actually read the title in your podcast app. Definitely you want to stick around for the prediction episode, the second half of this episode, because we have some guests, and you're gonna have to wait until then to find out who the guests are. They're cool guests. I like them. For this entire episode, we have our special rules for spoilers, which means anything can be spoiled. All of the TV shows, all the movies, etc. So if there's anything you definitely don't want to be spoiled, like maybe the entire season of Hellstrom, go watch that first, I guess, and then come back and listen to this. Yeah, and that's about it. So I guess with that, we can go ahead and start actually doing our results to the prediction episode that we had. What was it? 7 weeks ago that we made these predictions?
Yeah, I believe so. After the first two episodes dropped, because, we're good on timing.
Mm-hmm, that's right. So let's argue for some points, because I don't think either of us got a full one right.
All right. But first, Al, what did you think about the show overall?
Oh no, the show was amazing. I loved it. I'm a little hesitant to say exactly so one thing that I'm wondering is how rewatchable this is going to be later on, because right now the show came out, and you and I, Tony, we were talking, we both watched every episode multiple times.
Yeah.
The other people that we talked to on Twitter, essentially the other MCU podcast people, they've all watched every episode multiple times. We all had a fun time talking about it, and also making up our predictions, and of what we think is going to happen, changing those predictions as the season went along.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of fun. But given how things really turned out, it's actually kind of making me a little bit hesitant on other predictions that I will start making for other shows in the MCU. Well, after Falcon and Winter Soldier, because we already recorded that episode a week ago. It's weird with podcast stuff. Anyway, because I mean, and the example of the kind of thing that I'm aiming for is, one of the things Kevin Feige had said is that with the Disney Plus shows, they're going to be able to have more of that crossover kind of continuity stuff between TV shows and movies, and we definitely got that with WandaVision. But it wasn't that level. I think a lot of us, myself included, I definitely thought that meant new stuff is going to happen in the movies, in the TV shows and the Disney Plus shows that is like the same level of kinds of things that would happen in the movies. And that's definitely not what ended up happening. Mm-hmm. So that definitely changes how I will be making predictions in the future. But anyway, back to the original question. It was a really good show. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely loved it. I do really like now getting a concept of maybe what these Disney Plus shows are. Like, we know more than anyone else in the MCU, we know the ins and outs of both Tony Stark's and Captain America's lives, because they've got the most screen time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Thor too, but Thor, I think, it's less his regular life. These Disney Plus shows are really going to focus on, because, I mean, I felt like before the show, I had a decent idea of who Wanda was, even though she's now much more complex a character, in my opinion, after this. I didn't know who Vision was as a person at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I was thinking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming up. Is I don't know who those people are when they're not with Steve Rogers. So I'm now, like you, I'm going to be switching up how I think about these shows. Is less about, oh my goodness, they're going to have something crazy happen, even though yes they did, and it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be more about knowing these characters and knowing who they are. So when they show up in the big tentpoles of like these characters showing up in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, or Monica showing up in Captain America 2, Captain Marvel 2. We'll have a much better idea of who they are in their own lives, which I think is great. Also, when I watched the finale, I think a lot of people, myself included, were a tiny bit disappointed because everyone's hyped it up in their imaginations for all these like crazy theories of Mephisto and Pietro or Peter from the X-Men universe and stuff like that. But watching it the second time, knowing what happened, it's just a good story about this broken woman and how she copes with these extraordinary powers, which is a valuable story in and of itself without these crazy twists and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, throughout the season, there were so many like red herrings that they would throw in just to mess with us. You know, those of us specifically who look at every single detail and think, well, does that matter? Does that matter? And so, you know, we did it to ourselves.
Yeah.
And you know, the showrunners didn't help. But
neither did Paul Bettany, honestly.
Oh yeah, that son of a gun. I mean, we should have known based off of his quote that he got to work with someone he's always wanted to work with. Like, oh, well, yeah, okay, that's obvious. He just wanted to work with himself.
Yeah,
he wanted 2 paychecks. But
pretty much. Although I like, while looking at Paul Bettany stuff, I did find a supercut of his favorite phrase. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
His favorite phrase he says in like at least 12 interviews, because it's a supercut of him saying it with like cast members next to him about spoilers, is snitches end up in ditches. Which, as people get up early in the morning and post things about Falcon and the Winter Soldier or any of these shows in the future, I'm just going to put a GIF with Paul Bettany saying that over and over again.
I love it because I'm not someone who wakes up early enough to watch these shows in the morning, which means then I have to avoid Twitter, and it's just it's a hassle all day. I had to like change my Google Newsfeed preferences. I had to tell Google that I don't like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That hurt. That physically hurt.
Yep. Did it respond with, well, why are you hosting a Marvel podcast then? Or is it not self-aware of it yet?
I think it just chose not to believe me because I had to tell it I don't like a lot of things, and I'm still getting stuff every so often, but less of the articles where the headline spoils the episode. So that's good at least. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like really it's more annoying to me that you don't wake up early and watch these, because I do wake up early and watch them. I just don't post like an a-hole. But you're the one I talk to most often about these shows, and then I have to wait to talk to you about it. It's just annoying.
You need more friends.
I really do. I need more nerdy friends. Like, most of my friends who are nerds also just waited till the end of the show to binge the whole thing. So they've been talking to me about it the last couple days.
And they didn't take the time to appreciate it. They only watched each episode once.
Right?
All right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, anyway, the last thing I did actually want to kind of mention, tacking on to what you said, is that in addition to like how this story fits into the MCU, so one of the things that we've been getting with the MCU movies recently has been any kind of first movie for a character is it's like a different style of superhero origin story, right? Like usually it's someone who already has powers, and I keep mentioning this in like other random episodes we do, right? Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Spider-Man, like they all had their powers when they got their first movie, but they still kind of had to do some of those origin story type of things. And in a sense, this TV show kind of had that same concept, right? Like she's learning that, oh, she always had the Scarlet Witch powers and the Mind Stone unlocked them, or something to that effect,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a little bit more to that we as the audience are also learning about the character. And so I get the feeling that that kind of concept is going to keep showing up with the other shows. Maybe not Loki, or maybe with Loki. I have no idea. We'll find out in a few months.
Yeah. I think the big rite of passage that both Vision and Wanda got in this that they hadn't had before is fighting a villain with the exact same powers as them. So, we got Nega, Vision, and Agatha. So,
You're right. That's true.
all right, man. We want to jump into our very wrong predictions and see if we can get any points for these?
Yep. Let's do it. Let's see who gets bragging rights again.
All right. So the first question was 3 questions. What is the Roll Sword? Who runs it? And what are they doing? And you said, Sword is there to help. Monitoring. Nick Fury is involved. And then I said, they're trying to get people out of the bubble, and Daisy Johnson is involved, which I was shooting for the stars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so I guess I'll start. So defending myself, I mean, Sword is there to help, but honestly, that's just a generic gimme. Like that one, I don't think I should get any points for, really, because like that's just obvious. Just their monitoring. I think I'm gonna try to see if I can convince you to give me a quarter of a point for that one.
We've got to put a limit on how small fractions of points we can give. I accept half a point, quarter of a point.
Okay,
I'm going to argue with you on that more than your argument.
Okay, all right. So if I can't justify half of a point, then it's not worth it. In that case, I can't justify anything for that answer. So
okay.
Well, actually, no. Hold on. Nick Fury is involved, right? Because when we get to the end of the series, the Skrull lady, who is that the same Skrull who was the
little girl in the first one in Captain Marvel?
No, in well, maybe, but no, the in Spider-Man: Far From Home, there were the two Skrulls, right? And I forget their names, but the one who was
yeah, the one who
Kobe
was
Smulders.
That's what I was going to say to you, Maria Hill.
Yeah, Maria Hill. Yeah, I don't know if that was her or not. And if not, then I mean, either way, she implies, she's like, "Hey, you want to go to that cool space station?"
Yeah.
Which we know Nick Fury is there.
Yeah, you know what? I will give you that half a point
Yes.
if you say that they were trying to get people out. They were trying to get Vision out, but they were also trying to get, Monica out. And that wasn't Hayward's primary goal, but it was the goal of the organization, at least in the beginning.
I mean, yeah, it definitely was, especially when we first saw, like, those first 2 episodes. They were there monitoring and trying to figure things out, and yeah, getting people out of whatever is going on.
Yeah.
Okay, half of a point.
Half a point each.
Woo!
All right.
Are you writing this in our notes?
I am.
Okay. All right.
So right now, Al's score 0.5. Tony's score also 0.5.
Woohoo!
All right. Next question. What the HE double hockey sticks is going on? You said Wanda made a deal with someone to bring Vision back to life, but the demon took over the town to hide them from the world. The other person is using Vision to do computer stuff for him. And I said a demon is creating an alternate world to create children, like in the comics. I would say my answer, still possible, but not confirmed in this. So I will not accept the point.
Okay, what do you mean it's still possible?
This is my thought is someone, I think someone, and this will be revealed in like Multiverse of Madness, amplified Agatha's powers back in the 18 or 1690s that we saw in the flashback. And she has still a deal with the devil, Mephisto, Nightmare, whichever demonic version they're going to go with. And we know from the post-credit scenes that at least the souls of Billy and Tommy are still out there somewhere because they called out to Wanda in that post-credit scene at the end of the finale. So I think that's still like in play, that Agatha was a pawn, but it's not confirmed in this, so I wouldn't accept. I'm not gonna argue for the point.
Okay, all right. So, all right, that makes sense. Like that would be a good storyline. So, okay, so we'll see how that goes. And as far as mine goes, she definitely did not make a deal with anyone. She just created the town. And Vision was just there to be around, and he wasn't being used at all. So, yeah, 0 points for me on that one.
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to be happy with the next answers. Is Vision back to life? Is our next question. You said his soul is back, but he only lives in this world, meaning the Hex. He will be back permanently in the end. And I said, I think he is back to life.
All right, so we both have some. We both have to make some cases, I think, for our answers. So I'll go ahead and start. In a sense, like I don't know if we would argue that that's a soul. That is a part of him. I mean, that is exactly Wanda's words in the finale, right? He asked, what am I? And she said, well, you're the part of the mind gem that lives in me. So if you want to count that as half of a point, if not,
hey, man,
I could take it either way.
I was going to give you a whole point for that.
Oh, really? Well, just because I added at the end that he will be back permanently in the end.
Yeah, and we're not getting metaphysical. They never talk about the soul, but his Mind Stone, and he is Vision.
Okay, and it is possible because we know Vision's body, original body, is still out there. That could be put in there, especially because we know that the souls of the children, or whatever we keep calling them, souls, but something of Wanda's 2 kids are out there. So I guess that's possible. That's a thing. Okay.
Yeah. And then I think that when he gave Negavision his memories, that's essentially giving him back his soul.
Okay. I don't know if I agree with that thing. Now, I would still give you the point for saying that he's back, because when the 2 of them were fighting, Negavision just, I forget, he said something. I think he said,
I am Vision.
He said, I am Vision. And then he left. He didn't help. He didn't stay. Like, if he really was Vision, he would have done good. And he may have been confused and tried to figure out what good is. But he just got out of there. We don't know what he did.
Yeah, I'm really curious where he's going to show up next.
Yeah.
Just like, because he's just out there now. But yeah, my thought process is Hex Vision unlocked his memories, so maybe he only remembers up to when Thanos ripped out the Soul Stone, or the Mind Stone. I mean,
yeah, that's kind of my assumption too. Like, he remembers to that point, and then I guess maybe once he was turned back on outside of the Hex over here.
But if he still is programming, he might leave to protect Wanda. Like, if he sees Wanda, he'll try to kill her.
We just got over that storyline with Bucky, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. That actually would make a lot of sense. But okay. So 1 full point for both of us then, I guess?
Yeah.
All right. Ooh. Yeah.
All right.
Did not think that would happen. Cool.
Okay, so next question. It shows in the trailers that someone is asking, who is doing this to you? Who is doing this to Wanda? Who is the antagonist? You said it was Mephisto, who she made a deal with, and I said Nightmare, just messing up because he's not used to giving pleasant dreams. I would definitely say we were both wrong.
Well, hold on, Tony. Read the rest of mine. Mephisto, who she made a deal with, but she is choosing to stay there.
Okay.
Now, I don't think that's worth half of a point.
No, neither do I.
But she was consciously choosing to stay in this dreamlike world. I called part of that.
Yeah,
That's all
but
I've got.
I think the real thing is who's doing this is we didn't ask really why. We just
Mhm.
decided to expand.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not arguing for a point. I'm just arguing that I got part of some kind of prediction for the episode.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't think there's much to say about this. It was, as the song clearly states, it was Agatha all along. um.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh. Part of me little disappointed there wasn't a bigger bad behind it, but part of me thinks like as we got closer and closer and closer to the end of the season, I'm glad they didn't throw in a Mephisto or Nightmare in the last episode.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that would have been so much to explain, and I don't know. It might have, like, if they did something like that, I was kind of starting to expect that it would be like an end credit scene or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, maybe considering we hear her kids' voices at the end. Um, but yeah, I mean, I kind of have my own little theory there about Agatha.
Yeah.
Because I had mentioned this to you a little bit when we were chatting. Um, that because like the timeline is a little bit weird, like we're told how many days it was since Wanda went to Sword to
Mm-hmm.
visit Vision's body, and then we also know like how many days the TV show has been going. So I think what actually happened was that Wanda created this TV land, WandaVision land,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, you're right. TV Land's copyrighted, so
okay,
WandaVision Land.
all right. I don't know who owns the phrase TV land. I'm assuming
Mm,
Disney doesn't.
Nickelodeon, because it was a spin-off of the Nick and Night block they used to have. So that's Paramount.
Okay, so then WandaVision land. All right.
Yeah.
so so my theory is that it was actually quote unquote perfect in that land until Agatha showed up, and that's when all of the like sitcom things started happening where they had to like hide like the dinner with the hearts. Like before that, they're like, what? Why is there anything on the calendar? And then that also started pushing forward the decades. So like
Yeah.
more stuff to say. Yeah, definitely was Agatha all along.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that yeah, it was a very Dick Van Dyke, which was we see in the flashback episode that was her favorite. But once Agatha showed up and she brought the food that choked Mr. Hart. So once she started messing things up, Wanda was like, "Well, this isn't working. Let's go to another show, and maybe that will be perfect," and so on and so
Mm-hmm.
forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So next question:
Mm-hmm.
how much does Vision know about the events of the Infinity War or the real world? And you said he doesn't know anything since he died or his superhero past. And I said, I agree.
All right, so there's two parts to that.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't know anything that has happened since he died, which means that he knows the rest of his life, all 3 years, I guess. So we definitely didn't get that part.
Yeah.
Um, but we also said that he didn't know his superhero past.
Yeah. Which he didn't. He didn't know
Yeah,
anything other than what was in the hex.
that's true. I feel like this answer is actually two completely opposite things. He
So
knows
do I,
everything.
honestly. Because the superhero past. Okay.
Or,
The way I read this today, not
mm-hmm,
that at that time, is he didn't know anything before the hex wasn't Division Land, so he doesn't know anything about his superhero life, which is his entirety of his life,
mm-hmm.
and anything between the snap and the blip. That's what I read it as.
Ah, okay. So I just had to switch over to my notes of what I wrote down
Okay.
when I was trying to answer these questions. And so I wrote down, quote, nothing, just the word nothing, which means I probably elaborated heavily when we
Yeah.
were talking about this. um,
So I think we get those points because I just agreed with you. Because I think he doesn't know anything before the hex, pretty much, is
mhm.
how I'm and which is true.
Yeah, it's true because it's not that vision. I mean, the vision we
Yeah.
were talking about. So okay, all right, yeah.
And then,
And
he specifically says at one point he doesn't know who he is.
that's true. But also, other Vision does have access to those memories, and he got them, so
Well,
he did know everything up until when he died.
Not at that point. Plus, he wasn't Vision until he knew those memories.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give us those points.
All right, that sounds good. Yay, points.
All right, still tied up 2.5 to 2.5.
All right, we've got 2 questions left. Let's do it.
Which is going to change right now.
Okay.
All right, do any of the other Avengers know what's going on? You said Nick Fury knows, but none of the others. And I said Doctor Strange knows. You got that point.
Yeah.
Straight out.
Yes.
Very disappointed in Doctor Strange. Where is he? Isn't this like the sole purpose of the Sorcerer Supreme?
Yeah, exactly. Like I was very surprised he actually didn't show up or make any kind of mention or anything like that.
I was like post-credit scene or something, but no.
Yeah. I am actually gonna argue. We're not 100% sure Nick Fury knows, right? Because I know I mentioned that at the beginning, but it's possible. So when the scroll was talking to Maria Rambeau, she said an old friend of your mother's, which is possible. That's Nick Fury.
Yeah.
The other possibility could be Captain Marvel.
It's true.
So,
do you want me to knock you down to half a point?
I'm gonna go with a half a point. Yeah, I think that's fair. So, just because we're not 100% sure, but then again, considering we do know that Nick Fury is working with the Skrulls, it's probably it wasn't outright said, but it's probably that.
Yeah, I think it's all pointing towards it being Nick Fury. Yeah, but yeah, if you want to take away half a point from yourself, I'll accept it.
yeah. Don't ask me again. Just let's move on.
Okay. And then our final question, which, as always, is make a random off-the-wall prediction. And you leaned in hard to this one because you said the Infinity Stones are still involved. Mr. Heart is soul. The Mind Stone is on Vision's. I wrote box, but I must have said body. Oh no, box.
No, it's
the box. The from episode 2. Wanda reverse timed, and Wanda has more powers from the Infinity Stones. I would say no.
Yeah, my whole thing was that like she has more powers because of the Infinity Stones, and like the other things were like representing Infinity Stone stuff. And I agree with you. No, I mean she does have more powers. We got that part, but it had nothing to do with any of the stones.
Yeah.
So, all right.
And then my answer is Agnes is working with the demonic character, which I will argue for half a point because she was the demonic character, and that bunny rabbit straight up ate that insect bird thing. So I think he's a demonic character.
I don't know. That one feels like a stretch.
How about my first? I'll just go with my first argument that she was the evil character.
I mean, her. I feel bad because if I say yes, you got this, then we tie. But if I say no, like I want to, no. I mean, like I could be convinced, but it feels like this prediction is saying that there are 2 people involved, and Agnes is, while at best a co-conspirator, not the one involved, like not the sole conspirator, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like I could give you the half point because at the time, I mean, we were probably
don't
already
feel guilty if you don't think I earned it, and you just want to accept the win for yourself.
I mean, always. No, hold on. I'm thinking about it. I'm coming around to it. I'm coming around because I mean, Agnes is. I mean, she's not a demon, but I mean, demon could also just be a description of a horrible person, which she kind of is.
She is.
Yeah, she killed everyone in her coven, plus her mother
and the dog.
Oh yeah, there you go. She's a demon. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll give you the half point. I think that's fair.
All right.
That's fair.
So with that, we have both tied with 3 points.
Yay!
Yay! Um. So something I just saw this. We didn't have on our rundown.
Mhm.
What do you think is next for Wanda and Vision?
Oh, that's a good question. All right. I mean, thinking about it a little bit, we do. Well, I'll start with Wanda at least. So we know Wanda is um, learning in that cabin far away, which I was really half expecting her to just like write a note and then Hulk out, which would have been great. But no, it's a
Right?
separate thing. Yeah. um, one of the things like we definitely see that she has more power than Doctor Strange. The one time we saw him astral projecting, right? Like when in his movie.
No, two
Uh,
times.
well, yeah. What was the second time?
When he was studying, and when Dr. Palmer had to do surgery on him.
Oh yeah, that's right. So in both scenarios, he physically was unconscious, right? He
Mm-hmm.
was sleeping or just uh, knocked unconscious due to pain. But either way, his body wasn't doing anything, and we saw Wanda was like her body was walking around, drinking coffee, and that kind of stuff. So she's learning, she's getting better, she's at a minimum like learning the basics, right? Because
Yeah.
that was one of Agatha's big things. Like how do you not know the basics? So she's taking that time to learn. So when we see her next, she's going to be even more powerful because she'll actually know how to do the stuff that she's doing. Um, as far as like an actual storyline, she's probably going to be like opening up dimension portals, and I'm going to call it right now. I'm pretty sure that's where Doctor Strange walks up and says, "Hey, no, this is bad. We
Yeah.
can't keep doing this. What's going on here?"
No, I think you're right. I think either that or Doctor Strange is going to encounter Wanda in another universe or dimension and be like, "Hey, what the hell?"
Yeah,
um
that
the
would make sense.
the only reason I don't think Doctor Strange would be super like if she started opening portals, why he's going to be super concerned is he didn't come to the hex.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
You're right. So he has to like accidentally find out about all this stuff. That would make
That
sense.
or Mordo's going to get involved somehow.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Mordo
So
entirely.
did everyone else.
Yeah. Uh, hmm.
Yeah. I think yeah, she's going to be. There are rumors, which I'm starting to believe rumors less and less now, mostly because of the show.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
But that she's going to show up in Spider-Man, No Way Home. Uh, I think they're going to encounter her post-credit scene or something in this world hopping thing, and they're going to I mean, for all she knows, she's interested in understanding this power, and who understands it more than the Sorcerer Supreme? I think she's going to approach Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I actually had thought about it a little bit more. I'm going to go a little bit crazier and change my original answer.
Okay.
Um, so let's completely ignore what I said, except for
Done.
some of the logic leading up to it, like her getting more powerful.
I've already forgotten, so continue.
Perfect. Same here. So she is going to take over another land, another dimension, the dimension where her kids are, and then something's going to happen to like Doctor Strange will find out about it, and he's going to like go over and say, "Hey, what's going on? Why
Mhm.
are all of these demons or whatever? Why are all these other beings coming to our dimension?" So he has to like go and investigate, and then they're going to run into each other, and then they're gonna disagree eye to eye. Not like Civil War fighting, but maybe something along those lines.
What if instead of
Mm-hmm.
Strange coming to Westview in the aftermath, Mordo comes to Westview in the aftermath and unmind wipes Agatha,
Oh,
and they team up against Strange because Agatha wants to get rid of the Scarlet Witch to absorb her powers, and Mordo thinks there are too many magic users in general.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Those two would work together pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I mean, I hope Agatha pops up again. I don't think she's gonna pop up this soon, honestly. But I think that would be cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now your other question, what's going on with Vision?
Well, no, where will we see Vision next?
I have absolutely no idea. Like I'm trying to think of something. I mean,
I've got a bonkers idea.
Okay, I want to listen to yours first then.
I think the end of Multiverse of Madness will end with Wanda electing to stay in another dimension with her children.
Okay.
So that means somewhere in the universe, the Darkhold will be unattended in our universe.
Again. Okay.
Again. And it's going to factor in, because Darkhold is also one of the original curses to make vampires is there. It's going to be a big part of Blade, and White Vision is going to show up randomly in Blade.
Okay. All right.
Mostly, I think the Darkhold is setting up Blade, because there's a lot of vampire stuff in that. Also, headcanon, the Darkhold changes the contents to whatever your first language is. What if, like, the Scarlet Witch and Agatha's powers come from other places? Maybe they understand other dimensions, so the reason it doesn't say Darkhold on the side like it did in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Runaways is because it just changed to be whatever that base language is, like runes.
Yeah, that could be it. Another thing, apparently in the comics, the book itself just changes appearance sometimes.
Yeah.
So
there's no reason why people are saying, well, this proves that that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is uncanon, not canon. No, other things do that, but not this specifically.
I disagree with everything that you said about what proves it's not canon. It's still canon in my mind. But fine. We'll argue about that some more through text messages.
Yes.
I guess if I'm going to predict where we'll see Vision next, I'm going to go out there too. I'm going to guess it's got to be something like high level. I'm going to say he's going to show up in the Captain Marvel 2 movie. Okay. Just like in space, he's doing stuff. He's done a whole soul searching thing. Mm-hmm. He can only spend so much time on a tropical vacation that he decided, like, well, I guess I'll go help do hero stuff in space. Let's see what that's like.
Tahiti or something.
Yeah, that's where he was for like 6 months, and then he just like went back to Sword and was like, hey, I know you guys have some stuff. I'm gonna take the spaceship. And they're gonna say no, and he's gonna be like, you're not gonna do anything about it. And then they'll try, but they won't be effective.
Yeah, I mean, I think Vision would be good in like a hypothetical Silver Surfer movie. If he's going to space.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
It's just like he seems so much more cerebral, which, I mean, the climax of his final battle is a philosophy argument. So, and I loved it. I'm like, this is perfect Vision.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I like, realistically, I have no idea where Vision could show up next.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So are we done with this? With the first of our doubleheader part of the episode? Did you have anything else you wanted to say about WandaVision?
So much, but we'll probably cover that in 2026 when we get to this show on our schedule.
Woohoo! I can't wait.
You'll have
5 years to go. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, well then in that case, let's move on to the next half of this episode. All right, so now we're moving into the second half of this prediction and results episodes. So this half is the predictions that we're going to be doing for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which premieres on Disney Plus on Friday, March 19th. So that is 2 weeks from when this podcast is dropping, or 1 week. I really should have written down when this is dropping. Anyway, That's coming out soon in March. And so for this second half of the episode, we're joined by two guests that you may already know from their awesome podcast, Trey and Jude from MCU Need to Know. Hi, guys. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Why don't you quickly tell our audience about your show?
Yeah, so Trey and I are cousins, and Trey streamed for a number of years, and so he's a content creator at heart, and we both love the MCU, and just decided, hey, let's just record ourselves talking about it, and maybe others would be interested. So we started recording. It's interesting. We actually wanted to kick off with Black Widow, and because of the pandemic and it getting pushed back, Trey wanted to wait, and I convinced him to go ahead and get started anyways. And we started with Netflix Daredevil season 1, and it was a nice little warm up for us and kind of working out the kinks to get started with WandaVision, and it's been a fun ride.
Awesome. And yeah, so your show has been running for about a year now, right? Or almost out there?
Almost. It'll be a year the first weekend, or I guess we dropped our first episode the last day of April, because that was, I believe, a Sunday. And then we, so we really officially kind of got started right at May, that early May.
Yeah, it's so funny that we planned to do it with Black Widow, and here we are almost a year later, and Black Widow is still not out.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Disney Plus is a thing.
Yep. All right, cool. So before jumping into it, a couple things I want to say. We already said this at the beginning with the WandaVision results, but just a reminder again, as far as these types of episodes go, we are full spoilers for absolutely everything. So all of the movies, all of the TV shows, etc. So if there's anything you missed that you don't want to have accidentally spoiled, maybe step away. We have no idea what we might say or might not. Now, our predictions, the way this works is we have a total of 7 questions, 3 questions from our show, 3 questions from MCU Need to Know, and then the final question is the just random one. So there's just a lot of things that we'll be talking about.
Yeah.
Al, there's one thing. There's one specific episode of one show we will not be spoiling.
Yes, and so that was the last thing I was going to go over. So we're recording this a couple of days before the finale of WandaVision, so we will not be spoiling that one because we haven't even seen it. We'll probably be making guesses, so we'll see how
I mean, that amazing reveal that Negavision is actually Baron Zemo in disguise, we don't know about that yet. So
I'll write that down for Tony.
Yeah, I was going to say. Well, my grain of sand is still going to be Magneto shows up in the last episode of WandaVision. So, when that happens, you have it here. So,
yep.
All right. Yeah, I'm sure we all have that one thing we're really hoping for. See how it goes. All right, cool. All right, so just because I'm a little worried that this is going to be like a 2-hour prediction episode, let's just go ahead and jump into it. So Tony, why don't you go ahead and start reading off whatever questions we've got.
Right. The first question from us, the MCU Rewind, is predicting, how did Zemo escape from his captivity we last saw him in Civil War? And I think we'll start with one of our guests. So Jude, do you want to start us off with that answer?
How did Zemo escape? I feel like this is lazy writing, and probably why I'm not a writer. I'm attaching it to the blip. Like I feel like he might have got blipped, because it didn't look like they intentionally aged him, although they used trailers to fake us out all the time. And when he came back, it was such a situation that it became easy for him to escape, if that makes sense, somehow. And so I think they're going to attach it to that somehow.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm just going to jump in right now because I have the exact same answer.
Oh, great, because so do I.
Well, cool. I think I got a different answer. This is cool.
Oh, awesome.
All right, we'll just skip right to Trey. Maybe this will be a shorter episode than we thought.
So yeah, I think the blip could be a way to do it, but something else that I was thinking about is there seems to kind of be this anti-superhero ideology that's building. We've kind of seen it pop up in certain character Hayward from WandaVision.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And as much as that was like part of Zemo's plan in Civil War of like disrupting the Avengers, I think we might see, kind of a little bit on the blip, but in this post-snap world that more people are leaning towards that ideology. And I would like to see him kind of talk his way out of finding more and more people who are believing in that, like, hey, we got to get rid of these superheroes. And that's how he's able to escape.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. So, like as a prisoner, he's getting convincing guards or other people kind
Mhm.
of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe a Harley Quinn kind of character.
Yeah.
Well, and I think in Civil War he was. I mean, he's Sokovian and he's highly trained. You know, that's why he was able to pull off the plot, of the Civil War movie. So I could see that happening. I'm gonna go with the blip just because that was mine, but yeah.
Yeah. Also, expanding on that is like if this is a follow up, like directly from WandaVision, feelings can be high from if it gets out what happened in New Jersey in Westview, her essentially enslaving all these people for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of people would not be happy about that kind of thing happening. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now I regret my answer, but it's already there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, if we're speculating wise, I'm curious. So, what prison he's in? Is a Wakandan prison?
I'm trying to think back to Civil War. He was in Ross Martin Freeman. I can't. His last name's Ross, but it's not Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the CIA agent, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So he's either in the CIA or he's in Interpol because it looks like the same place where they're keeping Bucky in Civil War.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good catch.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, that's exactly right. Because I was thinking of just that end scene between him and Black Panther, T'Challa. So that's why I was wondering if he was in a Wakandan prison. So yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next question and see if we have different answers. All right. So what are Sam and Bucky's legal status? Are they still wanted for breaking the Sokovia Accords or going on the run against pretty much the Sokovia Accords? Trey, we'll start with you this time.
Okay, so for me, my prediction is that I think they'll be forgiven for breaking the Sokovia Accords on the condition of turning in the shield plus services for the Infinity War and Endgame, everything they did there. And my biggest reasoning being, it seems based on the trailers that the legacy of the shield is going to be centered for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I almost feel like Sam's going to be wrestling with it in the same way that Peter Parker was wrestling with the legacy of Edith, and kind of just like saying like, oh, someone else should do this. So I'm thinking I'm assuming the US government gets the shield back is kind of like they talk Sam into like giving that up for whatever warped reasons they have. And that might lead to them being kind of free to operate in Rome without the burdens of the Sokovia Accords on their back.
All right. I like it. Al, how about yours?
Yeah, so I think that they're in a little bit of a gray area, like legal gray area, right? Also, I don't think they were only on the run for the Sokovia Accords. Remember, they blew up an airport. I think Germany is also angry at them.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That might turn a few heads.
maybe they're not allowed in that country. But okay, so we've seen in WandaVision, right? Like that was a couple of weeks after the blip, and she seemed to be completely fine, right? We saw in episode 8, she walked right into a sword facility, completely fine. She walked to Westview, and she like seemed to own a parcel of land for a house. So I think for the most part they're fine. But I think that they're doing like one of those like they're doing something to try and clear their names, but also like it's kind of the only thing they really know how to do. So while they're not volunteering exactly. They're doing these missions, like those TV shows where there's the really highly skilled prisoner who helps the government agency, like White Collar, Breakout Kings, The Blacklist, The Enemy Within, Thieves, Players,
Suicide Squad.
Spies, Suicide Squad, etc.
Catch Me
all
If You
those things.
Can.
No, I don't think that's a real trope, Al.
All right, well then I think Disney is inventing that kind of trope. And we're just going to see a bunch of those in the next few years.
I mean, if we wait long enough, Disney owns all the movies, so they might as well own the trope.
Give them a long enough timeline, Disney just owns everything.
Yeah.
You know, if they keep putting out Marvel content is this good, I'm going to be okay with it.
Oh yeah,
totally.
I agree.
So that's my prediction. They're basically like kind of trying to get that status back of what they had before.
Yeah. Man. Okay. So I'm not sure. I feel like my answer is also dependent upon one of our questions, and only because. So let me try to answer this in such a way where I'm not getting into our question. If I think about it through, at the end of Civil War, Bucky was in Wakanda. He fought in Wakanda and got dusted and came back. Sam was on the run, fought in Wakanda and got dusted. So I feel like they are still, at least in the beginning, probably on the run. Legally, so to speak, like in a very technical, legal way. And whether or not, because Sam was broken out of prison by Cap, right, to go on the run. So in that way, I feel like they still have that kind of legal status. Now, to the extent that they're actually being enforced, and how much they want to do that, I'm not sure. So in that way, I'm going to say, yeah, they're still on the run.
Yeah, the enforcement of the Sokovia Accords. I don't know if you guys have watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it gives me and Al a real big headache. Sometimes it's enforced and sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've seen, I think, is it season 6? It's the one where half the season was in space.
Season 5.
Well, it's season 5 where it's space future and then it catches up, which I enjoyed. But keep in mind, like, I don't have television. Like, I stream everything. And so it was hard for me to keep up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When it was live. And so that's why I'm behind.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually genuine because I think I ended right around the same time Jude did with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Did they ever tackle the Sokovia Accords in that show?
In season 3, so right after the Sokovia Accords were signed, there are Inhumans who have to sign the Accords, and there are different mentions of the Accords and breaking the Accords and stuff like that, but it's enforced in such a like wishy-washy way, kind of like a lot of things in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., unfortunately.
Right.
But yeah.
Although, actually, I will say that the one line we got about the Sokovia Accords in WandaVision was actually pretty much in line with what we got in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so that was nice.
Okay. Yeah, on the whole, with Hayward and Wu violating the Accords.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what was said, but yeah, it was something like, oh, that's against the Sokovia Accords, and then they never mention it again. Or what exactly? Because I think Hayward said like 3 things.
Yeah, it was about Wanda taking when he showed the doctored footage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how she was bringing him back online, and it was against Vision's living will and the Accords.
Yeah. I mean, the understanding from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is pretty much if anyone uses their powers, and it's not specifically for a approved military event, it's against the Sokovia Accords, which is very difficult and weird to enforce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for Sam and Bucky's legal status, my prediction is I think they made some sort of plea deal, and that's why they're working for the military. Very much like how Hawkeye and Ant-Man both made plea deals, but they only blew up an airport, and then these guys blew up an airport, then went on the run for a couple of years, so it's a bigger deal.
So let me ask you this: do you think when we say military, do you really mean military, or are we thinking like sword or something?
Well, here's question number 3. Thanks for the segue. We see them in therapy and jumping out of a military plane. Who are they working for? So, perfect segue. Al, what's your guess?
So I think it's some sort of multinational military task force kind of thing. So it's not U.S. specific. And if I knew the comics better, I probably would guess at like some kind of organization that already exists. But I'm definitely thinking it's not Sword.
All right.
Okay.
How about you, Trey?
Yeah, so I don't think it's anything like Sword or Shielding, like anything like that. Specifically because when I was looking at the trailer, right before Sam jumps out, like there's a man kind of like tending the jump point, and he looks like he's in the U.S. Air Force garb, and so it seemed like it is of that official, um, you know, official mission status. So for me, I think they're still at least at that point in the trailer, at least working with the U.S. government at that point.
Okay. And just kind of one other thing to point out, it was confirmed that Rhodey is going to be in the show. Like, I don't know how big of, how many scenes kind of thing he'll get, but he does show up. So,
Mhm.
And I think Sam has ties to the Air Force too, so it feels like that would be a nice place to explore with him, as it's partly focused on him too.
Yeah, that was actually my guess. It's exactly for that reason, was the Air Force, because Sam was in the Air Force. He was I think he was a paratrooper before he got the wings, but I looked it up.
Pararescue, a PJ.
Pararescue, yeah. So, yeah. Although I bet someone who knows this a lot better than us is yelling at their phone right now saying, "That's an army plane," or something like that. Just like,
what else is the internet for?
I know, right?
That's right. It's our corrections.
All right, Jude, what are you thinking?
Okay, so I'm thinking, actually, I didn't realize Rhodey was like confirmed for the show. So, and I'm glad to know that, because it actually, I think, reinforces what my thought is. I think we're going to find out that this is going to be some group, whether they bring back AIM or something, that's trying to fill the void like Stark Industries and Shield left. Because we see, what is it, U.S. Agent, right? Or I think it's who it is. So in the trailer, so we get another Cap, and we know that's, or an attempted another Cap. With the Armor Wars coming, and if Rhodey's going to be there, we get an Armor Wars. I think they're bringing Justin Hammer back. So I think you're going to start seeing them lay the groundworks for that show as well. And so it's going to be some kind of organization like that is what we're going to see.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I mean, in the comics, there was a run where Norman Osborn basically took over Shield, right? And like legally type of took it over.
Dark Avengers, I believe.
Yeah, there we go. So I kind of wonder if it's did they like change the name of Shield at some point in that run? Because I'm wondering if maybe it was something like that. Because that's a really good point.
It was called Hammer, and as far as I know, Hammer didn't stand for, or they never revealed what Hammer stood for.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, and if they bring Justin Hammer back, that can just be his ego, because that's Justin Hammer, the Rockwell Justin Hammer.
That would be so in line with the character.
Yeah. And I would so love to see him back. So,
and part of me would kind of like them to try and force some acronym for it, just to see them do it, as much as they played on how much Shield wanted their name to be fit the acronym.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I think they're like in line to bring Justin Hammer back, because they've been kind of rehabilitating the images of the lesser MCU movies, like bringing Thor: The Dark World into Endgame, and then making Age of Ultron super important in WandaVision. It would make sense if they made Iron Man 2 super important to Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
All right, guys. So now it's your questions. So
awesome. All right, so the first one of our questions is, what is the time frame of Falcon and the Winter Soldier in relation to Endgame and Black Widow? So, Al, would you like to go first?
Sure. Way to have the hardest question, I think.
We came out strong.
Because I have no idea how to guess this. So it's a pure guess. All right, I'm thinking it's going to be a few months later, which makes it definitely after the events of WandaVision. But I'm kind of thinking before Spider-Man Far From Home. So I'm going to choose a very specific number and say that this is 4 months after the blip.
Okay. No, I mean, but that's I like that I mean, situating it, because now we know where WandaVision is, and we know where Far From Home is. So that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and go and just say mine's not that far off of yours. I definitely, and one of the things I found interesting about this was because this was supposed to be first, right? This, then Black Widow, originally. And so that's why, I was kind of thinking, okay, what does that mean in the timeline wise? I'm going to say with you, same thing, like right after WandaVision, somewhere in there before Far From Home for me. So that's why they're still on the run, in that legal way. I don't think it's going to go past Far From Home for the reason that I think what we see new characters, like when we get Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and those types of things, that's when we're going to start seeing the timeline grow past Far From Home.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, also, so the sequel to Far From Home, right? No Way Home, that's coming out at the end of this year of 2021. So I would actually be surprised if that, just based off of how Far From Home ended, I would be surprised if that movie was like months after Far From Home.
Right.
It feels like the kind of thing that'll be pretty much right after.
Right on top. Well, kind of like what Guardians and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where timeline-wise pretty much on top of each other.
Yeah, I think the real benefit of going 5 years in the future that the Endgame did was they can tell a bunch of concurrent stories now. Like Eternals, there's no reason why the Eternals has to be after Endgame. It could have taken place before or any place like that. Yeah. I've got a real important question for you guys. Is this the Price is Right rules? Is it the closest without going over the actual answer? Because I'll do like 3 months and 29 days.
I was going to say, it is your show. I'm playing by your rules.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, your show's your rules.
No, I definitely think it's post Endgame. Just a shot in the dark. I just put down probably 3 months. I have no idea, and we have no. I don't think we have any context for how long it takes place yet.
Yeah, I mean, we did actually have a little bit of some context clues in the trailer, right? Like, we do know that Zemo got out and was actually able to like get some people following him. So there's that. There's probably some amount of time of getting a U.S. agent type of person set up to be, Captain America replacement kind of person. So like, I think those things take time.
Yeah.
But like choosing an actual time, like it's shot in the dark.
Because as I'm looking at my answer, I forgot when I wrote these that we were kind of like trying to keep score. So my answer might be cheating a little bit, because I was going to say I feel like time frame wise, we might see kind of like a split timeline thing where Bucky and Sam, that's more closer to present day stuff, say, kind of close to Far From Home. Knowing that there may have been potential connective tissue between Black Widow and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I wonder if maybe some of that Zemo storyline would interact with what's being told there. And the reason I got that is because, General Ross is going to be in Black Widow. I know there are rumors that he's putting together his own team Thunderbolts, yes.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that carries over, if we'll see another timeline of him and maybe what was going on in Black Widow too, at least for a couple episodes before we see things converge and the story take place.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, especially because, especially what we've seen in WandaVision, you can play with format a lot better in a show than in a movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
again, your show, your rules, however you want to score that. I really casted a wide net there.
You know what? I wrote a split timeline. Bucky and Sam close to Far From Home. Some in Zemo maybe around Black Widow time. If it's not split between those, you don't get the point.
Cool.
Trey's all, it's going to happen in the MCU.
Yeah, right? So you see, the Big Bang happened 4 billion years ago. It was sometime after that.
It's been my strategy all along. Oh, man. So for our next question, will Bucky's arm get cool tech because it's Wakandan? So, Tony, if you want to go first this time.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be... I hope I'm the only one who says this. I'm going to go with no. Specifically because if it had some cool tech thing, it would be too familiar with Claw's tech, who was an enemy of Wakanda.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, I guess I can jump in real quick because my answer is in direct opposite. I wrote because of Claw, maybe, because it always felt like to me like it was such a letdown that they had that big buildup of like, them in Wakanda presenting Bucky the new arm. But you bring up such a great point. I never thought about it that way, that because Claw was an enemy of them, it wouldn't make sense that they would have an arm inspired by it.
So I'm going to also interject and say also no.
I thought it was so unique.
Well, I'm kind of hoping we get a yes after that. So my logic was, okay, like you look at the arm and it does have that cool paint job. It's darker. It's definitely black with the gold on it. I didn't see like a really good close up or anything, but it kind of does look vibranium. But I'm thinking, no, it's not even vibranium, because I think they just didn't want to waste it on him. Like, they already took care of him, let him live there for, we have no idea how long, like a couple years, I think. I think that was enough of a gift. They probably just put like some really cool, some really good metal.
Old arm, new paint job.
We fixed your mind. Wasn't that enough?
He's in a battle, and you see on the shoulder, it starts to scratch off, and there comes the red star again. And
Rocket's there to think he's got a better deal now because it's not as pristine.
So I'm going to go with Trey and say yes.
Cool.
And mainly because it's kind of weird because there's an element of, depending on what they do with it, if I say yes, it's like it can be really cheesy, and so you got to do it right. Like, how do you give a single arm tech, that doesn't come off cheesy? And I'm going to trust the creators of MCU and stuff and their creative team to pull it off. I feel like it's Wakandan, and Shuri made it, and she just can't help herself but to do stuff. Like, that's just who she is character-wise, And we get that in the first Black Panther, right? Like, T'Challa's fine with the suit, and she's like, "Oh, but this is old tech. Hold on, let me put my helmet on." And so she gets an improve that he wasn't even really asking for. So I just feel like she just can't help herself, and that's why. And plus, most characters I guess being deprogrammed should be enough. Although I'm not convinced he's 100% deprogrammed, but well, I mean, you're bringing Zemo back, right? And he's the one that set him off in Civil War. But most of our heroes get some kind of upgrade in power with each story, and like that's really his only thing you can upgrade. So those are my two reasons to say yes.
All right.
Yeah, those are really good reasons. I wish I could change my answer. Unfortunately, I already spoke.
This is why I'm writing them down, so we're not coming back in a couple months being like, no, but I totally meant what happened in that show. I was right.
So yeah, I think this brings us to our last question that we came up with. Given the Disney Plus shows having kind of built up this reputation of bringing in cameos. I know that's been a big deal for stuff like Mandalorian, potentially WandaVision. If Falcon and the Winter Soldier gets a cameo, who would y'all like it to be? Jude, if you want to go first this time.
Let's see. I'm gonna go. Man, I had one, but now I kind of want to save it for the little surprise round. Actually, honestly, the cameo that I would love to see, I didn't know it was Rhodey, and so like I'm gonna get what I want.
The best prediction of all time.
Yeah.
Well, then my guess is I think Sam Wilson's going to be in this. So,
But yeah, like I don't know where I missed that, but it was like I'd love to, because I always love to see that connective tissue, and we just came off of WandaVision, right? And I realized we mentioned as you're recording it, we haven't seen the last episode, and Rhodey is a good down to earth type character. I mean, you're not going to get Quill or Thor showing up in this. You're going to have a down to earth character. So in that sense, definitely Rhodey for me.
It's so funny because we talked a little bit about these questions, Jude, and I mentioned that Rhodey was going to be in this. It still slipped your mind.
I know. I'm just dumb. I just be dumb sometimes.
Or he claims it slipped his mind, so he can get the point.
Hey, I just want to be right once. Yeah.
Haven't you listened to our show? I think you're on track.
Yeah. So now I don't. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Oh, you're
It's
good.
all right. So Jude definitely gets a point. Okay.
I guess I can jump in with mine, kind of in line with what Jude was talking about of being down-to-earth characters. I got to say, cameo-wise, I think I might be pulling for Smart Hulk, which was something that I didn't expect when I sat down to write these. But, we saw in the interim of Infinity War and Endgame, Natasha was running like her own makeshift Avengers with Okoye and Rocket and Rhodey and Carol. Obviously knowing the fate of her character in that movie, that's not necessarily the case anymore. And so I was kind of just trying to predict who would be in that place to kind of shepherd whatever remains of the Avengers. And it felt like Smart Hulk was kind of getting primed for that position, having switched from being the rage monster to someone who's a lot more reserved, a lot more analytical than he's ever been. I think that would be a good fit. And I don't know. I think it could be a fun cameo if he makes an appearance in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I didn't even think about him at all as considering it, but that's a really good idea.
Same.
So I have a history of having a real solid, yes, this is a possibility, and a real out there idea. So I'm going with the out there idea. We know that they're going to be in Madripoor, which is a fictional kind of like Singapore version city in the MCU, that's in Asia. I think we might get a cameo of Shang-Chi from the upcoming movie.
Ooh.
Oh.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially because, man, we haven't had a trailer for that, a teaser. Have we even had set photos?
Not official set photos.
Yeah, not official yet, which is weird because by this time, I mean, Spider-Man, I think, had 2 official set photos. Well, it's Sony and their marketing is kind of weird, but just to not have anything on that, or the Eternals either. But yeah, I think that would be a great one to see.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, Tony, because you know that way better than me. Shang-Chi is coming out this year, right?
Not anymore.
Oh,
okay. I didn't know it got delayed again.
I'll double check though. Oh wait, I might be wrong.
Yeah, as far as I remembered, I think it was in July
9th.
July 9th.
As of right now. As of recording.
The big asterisk.
Okay.
As of recording, pulling out the MCU need to know bingo card there.
I know, right?
We say that so much.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll go ahead and jump in with mine. I went back and forth because, I started with similar thinking, right? Like someone down to earth, that kind of character. But then I remembered, who is very linked to the Winter Soldier is Rocket Raccoon. So here's what I'm thinking happened. We're gonna get something like great. Now I'm completely blanking on the word. Not a prequel, but like a memory. Something that happened before. Flashback. There we go. Man, I suck at words. So
good thing you don't need words for this.
I was say my prediction was something we already know, so it's okay.
So okay, there's gonna be a flashback of Rocket talking to Bucky and saying, "Hey, what do you want for that arm?" And Bucky's gonna say, "Well, obviously, no, I'm not giving you this arm, but I have the old one." And so they're gonna trade, and then Bucky's gonna have some cool alien tech kind of thing, like a weapon or maybe a one-time use bomb kind of thing. So
that would be cool.
So I'm thinking Rocket for that.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, especially if when Guardians 3 comes out, if we just see Bucky's arm like just chilling
hanging
on their
out.
ship.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right, guys.
Okay, wait. Can I ask a weird question? Is it, and because I don't remember, did Bucky's arm get dusted?
Yes.
It did. Okay. I'm just it's a piece of metal. It's not like
but we
a human
see
arm.
Everyone's clothes come
And
out.
so
and then
okay,
coming
and
out
so
all nude.
and so it's like did his arm get dusted? Okay.
That'd be an awkward, like you just see everybody's dusted, and then all of a sudden you just hear like a dunk, like you just hear the arm drop.
You want to talk about a morbid turn for the MCU? Just his arm falls to the ground along with his gun.
Well, that's the thing. I think about that a lot when The Last Jedi, when Luke fades away. Does his arm didn't clunk down either.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, shoot, now y'all have me thinking, like, obviously we know what happens to Vision because they needed the stone.
Mm-hmm.
If they didn't need that, would Vision have had the potential to be snapped away? Now we're getting existential.
Yeah, this is like the end of Age of Ultron when they were saying, like, put the Mjolnir in the elevator and the elevator goes up. It's not worthy. Is he a machine? Is he a living thing? We don't know.
Or even Nebula. Now I'm just down a rabbit hole. I'm sorry.
That's probably why they didn't, snap Nebula. They didn't want to have to mess with it.
Right. All right. So, in the very unlikely chance that we either all get these right or Jude wins because he knew one answer, here's your guys' Hail Mary. One random prediction that we did not bring up today. What do you think is going to happen randomly in the show? Jude, we'll start with you.
I think we're going to see old Cap make a cameo.
Ooh.
That was something I wanted to go with, but I was like, no, I'm leaving that for the surprise round. And Rhodey, again, honestly, blanking on that. But old Cap, I think we're going to see him.
Yeah, was my other guess. Like between Shang-Chi and my Down to Earth one, it was old Cap, but I decided against it.
So throwing more fuel onto that, we know that there was some possible contract negotiations going on before. So yeah, it's possible. And why am I blanking on his name? Chris Evans, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Chris Evans, he just comes back for like the one scene. And given that rumor was on like a month and a half ago, something like that. Yeah, that's enough time to film just like a single scene of him like that. So that would be cool.
Selfishly, I'm kind of hoping for it because I know the streak's been broken, but I think it's been since 2013 or 2014. Like every year, Chris Evans has appeared in a Marvel movie.
I think it's all the way from 2011.
Really? So in 2011.
Yeah.
So like it would be fun to see that streak go on, even if it's just like he's been in at least one phase. But that's wishful thinking as a Captain America fanboy.
All right, Trey, what's your random prediction?
So my random prediction, I think much in the way that we saw WandaVision handle a flashback of somebody coming back from the snap, I think we might get a flashback of Sam reliving that story that he told in Winter Soldier where he was running missions with a friend and he was forced to watch his demise given the way that they played out. Because they left it just vague enough, but I'm swinging for the fences. I think we'll see that tackled in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I agree with that because especially with all of Wanda's flashbacks in episode 8, we're getting into these characters. Well, I'll make Al go last, so I'll say, I think that one of the running themes through the Disney Plus shows is going to be trolling people hoping for mutant clues. Madripoor is a big setting in Wolverine's backstory, so I don't think we'll get any Wolverine, but we'll see like clues or little references to Wolverine being in Madripoor at one point, and people just dissect that, but they won't show him at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hasn't there been a lot of rumors about Omega Red?
Yeah, there have, especially because Omega Red, if I remember correctly, was a like Soviet mutant, and I think like when Black Widow was coming, or it is coming out. We all know, God,
right.
please, but
at some point.
when they were hyping it up before the pandemic, people thought maybe he'd be a big part of the Russian storyline, and we still have yet to see that. Yeah. All right, Al, what do you think?
All right, so the season for this show starts on Friday, March 19th, and we know that it goes for 6 weeks, meaning that it ends on Friday, April 23rd. Exactly 2 weeks later, on Friday, May 7th, is when the Black Widow movie is supposed to come out. So my prediction is that the end credit scene for the final episode is going to be a trailer for Black Widow, which also announces that Black Widow is going to be on Disney Plus Premier Access.
I so hope you get that point. Like that's, oh my gosh.
That'd be a really fun way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good way to do that.
I mean, I'm convinced it's going to be on Disney Plus, and I was really half expecting them to make that announcement during the Super Bowl, but I guess they didn't.
Yeah. Well, okay, and here's my thing. I was just talking to my wife about this, and like I just don't understand why they do that. I will pay, and I'm willing to bet that y'all would do it too. I'm going to pay. They put on Disney Plus. I'll pay the $30 for the extra access. And then when they release it later in the theaters, doesn't have to be same day Wonder Woman style, release it later, I would still go back to the theater to see it. And I think we could say that about most Marvel fans. And I think that they have a product and an audience built in that they could make money both ways. And I don't understand why they don't take that.
Yeah, totally. Like, I mean, every time like a big Marvel movie was coming out for like the past so many years, right? Like anything with a lot of crossovers, like the Avengers movies, and things like that, they always had, or like a lot of theaters at least, they had that like watch all of the MCU movies, and if you buy a ticket, you just go sit down for 3 days. And I never did that, but I would do it for one movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the theater is such an experience, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really hope your prediction's right. Can I add something to my prediction?
Sure.
Okay. Because I feel like it's cheating, and I've already felt like I cheated with the roadie. When I say an old Cap cameo, I don't like new stuff, not like a flashback to in-game conversation, like actual new stuff.
Okay. So it's a new, not stock footage.
Right. Yeah, because I feel like, you know, like Sam has the flashback and thinks back to when he gets the shield, and we see that scene again from in-game. That's not the same thing as like a new material.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking.
All right. It's in the record.
On the record. That's how confident I am. I wanted to make sure I get all of that down.
All right, awesome. So sounds like that's it. Those are our predictions. So we will be back sometime after Friday, April 23rd, probably a little less than a week after that, with the actual results for this. In the meantime, before we close out, actually, Trey, Jude, do either of you want to talk about your show one more time?
Sure, yeah. You know, we release every Monday, MCU Need to Know. right now we've been doing through WandaVision. We plan to go through Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And even when we do manage to have random breaks and whatever Marvel decides to stop putting stuff out, we try and center on topic-based stuff within the MCU as well. So every Monday we're putting out new episodes on, every podcast platform available, I think.
Yeah, you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter. Same thing at MCU Need to Know, and the email mcuneedtoknow@gmail. You can easily find us there.
Yeah. All right, awesome. And for everyone listening, I will make sure that I put all that information in the show notes. So if you
Thank you.
Missed that, just click on your show notes, however it is that you use them. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, this giant 2-parter episode. And so just listen next week. We'll be back to our normal cadence of episodes on Monday with Iron Fist Season 1, Episode 6, Immortal Emerges from Cave. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter. We are at MCU_rewind. We are always begging for any kind of rating that you can give us, specifically 5 stars. I mean, that's what we prefer. And that's it. So this is the Marvel Cinematic Rewind, signing off.
Have a marvelous day.